play the blame card that I came from a dysfunctional home, it's no longer an excuse. No.
A lot of people don't even know what family dysfunctionality is all about. So please, sir, what
the chain continues. If you don't end it with you, you will pass it down. Imagine a home like that, where you can be honest with your parents. You will take it to your grave. Because the day it comes out, if that thing don't kill you, your parents will kill you. One way or the other, you must die. Here's my take on this particular question. The first step into solving any of these problems is first acknowledging that there is a problem.
Sure.
Then get help.
All right, thank you very much for joining us in today's episode of the Dysfunctionality podcast. Today we are talking about a very special topic that a lot of people are currently experiencing and battling with secretly, and most people don't even know about it. And that is family dysfunctionality and how it affects every aspect of our life. And today we have a special guest in our midst, Mr. Adejo Felix. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
Podcast.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
We really appreciate you for coming today, sir. This particular topic about family dysfunctionality is one of the delicate topic I've experienced, and a lot of people are currently or silently battling with family dysfunctionality. And the worst part, I would say, is that a lot of people don't even know what family dysfunctionality is all about. So please, sir, what do you think family dysfunctionality is?
Basically, in a layman term, it's about how healthy or unhealthy a family environment is for a child. There's no two ways about it. It's how healthy or unhealthy the environment is. For example, if we have dysfunctionality, when you have issues like neglect, when you have emotional neglect, you have abuse, you have other cases where a child doesn't feel seen, doesn't feel heard, and that's the first thing that actually shapes the mindset of this child. So in the absence of all of this, for example, where a child is supposed to feel safe, they don't feel safe, they don't feel protected, they don't feel, it's a dysfunction. So family dysfunctionality basically talks about how healthy or unhealthy the environment is for the child. It's that simple.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
That insight. Now, talking about family dysfunctionality, just as you have explained, a lot of people really do not realize that they are being in a dysfunctional home until maybe later in life, where they now see that certain things begins to play out. Like it's as if the thing is now replaying back into sin. Why do you think that situation happened? Is it that they didn't notice it, or they didn't really know that they were actually undergoing a difficult season?
How I would put this is, most times we grew up with the ideology or the mindset that we saw around us. Everything that we saw around us is exactly what shaped us.
True.
You will not know any different until you actually go out and see different. If a child is born in a certain environment and the only thing he sees going on there is farming, nothing else, nobody drove a car, it's just farming. The only thing in the mindset of that child is farming, except something else happens to actually trigger a change. So until a person actually goes out and learn or see differently, they won't be able to actually come to that awareness until something happens. There's something that will trigger something and make them feel like, oh, this is how I've been, this is my thought pattern. But it's wrong. Until you see different before you'll be able to know that there's a better way stuff needs to be done or to be done. So what actually would bring one to that realization would be that there is something that they come in contact with that makes them realize that what they've had to grow up all along only shaped them in a negative way. I'll give you a practical example. If you have a child that grow up in a Muslim home, speaking about religion now, they train the child from birth and it grows up. Typically, it's only ideal for the child to actually grow up and follow the ways of the father and the mother.
Very true.
Same thing if you have a child that grows in a Christian home. When a child actually acts contrary, it seems like, oh, okay, what's wrong? But ideally, what you see your primary caregiver exhibit, how they live, how they function, is what shapes your mind and guides your path. So until you go out and see different, you might never know better. So that's just my take on it.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
So now, why does the same broken home, for example, now, produces people pleaser in one child, and how does it completely shut down another person's?
Okay, let me put it this way. You're conversant with the story of, I don't know, maybe I'll just share this. While growing up, I had a story told to me, and it's a story of two sons who had a father for a drunk, like a drunk father. So one grew up typically different. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Grew up typically different, not drinking, had a different path, and totally different, the opposite of what the father was.
Sure.
And the other one actually grew up exactly what the father was. So when the both of them were asked, why? What happened? What changed for you? The both of them, their testimony was that I grew up watching my father. They both watched the same thing, but two separate outcomes.
Separate outcome, yeah.
One watched him so I would never have to end up like this. This watched him that he didn't see any other possibility beyond what is seen. I don't know if you understand.
Yes,
so environment is one thing. You might have a story where there's a dysfunctional home. The father comes from, abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, and all of that. And one child will grow up with the mindset that I will never want to see myself being this. He chooses his path. That's where the awareness I'm talking about comes in. These two kids had the same example. Now, choice is what defines everything. Choice. Every day we're being made to make choices. Nobody's altogether good, nobody's altogether bad. That's the truth. We're all human and everyone is subject to a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Sure.
Do you understand? What draws the fine line or what calls for the fine line between these both things boils down to choices.
That's true.
So when a child passes through all of these phases and gets to a point where they can make choices, if they choose to allow this particular situation define them, you will get this particular negative trait as their life. Yeah. There is nothing another person can tell them different. This is the part they have to, it's choices. Because we're all made free moral agents to make our own choices. Yeah. So when you make your choice, that's exactly the path that it is going to actually call out for you. So that's my take on it.
Now, a lot of people has been able to identify that they are from a dysfunctional home. Okay. And by how they behave, how they think, it has begun to shape their life and all that. Now, in the sense that somebody now who said, okay, this is a pattern in my family. I don't want to grow up. I don't want to end up being like my mother. But in doing that, while growing up to adulthood, they now discover that the same pattern is flowing into their own life right now. So what are the signs for them to be able to identify that this thing they are doing is still going to take them back to the pattern where their mother or their father end up, and how can they fix it?
Making affirmations most times is good for the moment.
Yeah, true.
Saying what I see in my father's house will never be seen in my life. It sounds good. But after those affirmations, what do you do after it? I've heard this saying that when people say knowledge is power, it's subject to a scrutiny. Because the real power is in applied knowledge.
Yeah. True.
Do you understand? The real power is in applied knowledge. So here's my take on this particular question. No matter how well a person affirms, is what you do. The first step into solving any of these problems is first acknowledging that there is a problem.
True.
Then get help. People don't understand that there are certain things they actually carry over via DNA. I don't know if you understand me. So you just making affirmation doesn't take away that thing that is already registered in your biology. But seeking professional help, that this is a problem. Seeking professional help is the first step into actually achieving victory on this particular matter. So the moment you realize that this thing is common in my family, I've seen this with my siblings, I've seen this with my father, I've heard stories, and I see the same thing repeating in my life, or is about to repeat in my life. It's okay to sit down and be like, okay, how can I get help?
Yeah.
Because if you don't actually seek for help, no matter how many affirmations you recite, it might just be that person that is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Very true.
Do you understand me? So my number one take on it is to seek help.
Yeah.
The moment you acknowledge that, maybe you didn't even get to a point where you realized it yourself. It was a feedback from a loved one, a friend, somebody you got a feedback from, and you got to realize that, okay, this thing is not adding up. This is not good, but I see it in me. That's when, the day you realize that, the next step is to actually seek help. Nobody is beyond actually seeking help. There are some things you don't necessarily need to figure out on your own. Seek help. It's that simple. If it means going for counseling, if it means seeing a therapist, seek help. Because if you don't break the pattern now, it's a carryover. If they were able to pass it down, parents were able to pass traits down to their offspring via DNA, imagine what you'll be passing down to your own sons and daughters when they'll have fewer weapons to fight it than you have today. So that's just my take on it. The moment you realize it, seek help.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Now, studying the life of people, I noticed a lot of people play the blame card. In the sense that, okay, I come from a dysfunctional home. The reason why I'm this, the reason why I'm not this is because of my father. My father has failed and the rest. Now, that is a part of some certain people. And then at the same time, there are some certain people who demonized everything.
Okay.
They believe the reason why they are experiencing this is because one power of their father's house is responsible for it. Why do you think this situation is always like that? Do you believe they are all demonized, or there are common mistakes we do and then we try to blame everything on the devil and all that?
Yeah, okay. First thing first, I would want you to understand that the moment a person takes accountability for everything in his life and you know that I screwed up.
Yeah.
The day you start seeing it from that way. Okay, let me start from your first question where we play the blame card that I came from a dysfunctional home. It's no longer an excuse. No. In the days when that was a thing, is a thing of the past right now. Currently, the moment a child actually crosses 18 years of age, you are an adult.
True.
You get to make your own decision and choices.
Yeah.
You get to know what wrong and right is, what good and bad is. That's why when you see a person caught an armed robbery, they don't go to jail the father. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Do you, when you're caught stealing, as long as you're an adult, there are scenarios where cases where you're tried as a minor.
Yeah.
But once you're an adult, you're caught.
Responsible for your
you're
actions.
responsible. Nobody actually wants to know what shaped that into you.
True.
The moment you see a trait in you that ought not to be there, my first take is you take accountability. This is not to take away the fact that there are powers that be.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
This is not to take away the place that there are powers that there be. Because in the good book we've heard where the Bible said there are principalities, there are powers, there are rulers of darkness and the rest. There are places for all of those. I don't know if you understand.
Very true.
But if you can't tell me it's in all cases. Do you understand?
Yeah.
That's where the place of accountability comes in. When you're presented with something that has to do with your life growth and getting better, the best thing you can do for yourself is first own up that it's my life. If you find yourself that you find it easy being a talebearer, it's okay to actually examine yourself and be like, shit, this thing is wrong with me. It's nobody's fault because I'm an adult. Yes, I've passed through all of these things that actually got me here. Do you understand? But I'm responsible to actually for making my own choices now. Seek help. Deal with these things by taking accountability for them as for your own life. I think somewhere in the good book he said, guard your heart jealously. Say guard your heart rather, for out of it proceedeth the matters of life.
Yeah.
Most times what the people feed on, the kind of things they tell themselves in this time, in that time when they are supposed to be owning up and being like, okay, how can I get help? They start listening to people or start feeding on thoughts that makes them feel like it's a family thing. There's nothing you can do about it. There is something you can do about it. It's your life. You see this saying that people say, and when they say, this is how it's always been. Now, so my forefathers did do them. That's how it's been. I beg to question that. For the fact that this is how it's been doesn't make a thing right nor wrong. You should get to a point where, for your own sake, you should question the norms. What has come to play the role of this is how it ought to be. This is the pattern. When a child goes this way, this is the end result. For your own life that you're seeking growth and you want to actually be better, take accountability first, then seek help. That's just it.
All right, thank you very much for that. I want to ask another question. This particular question, for example, there is a particular family member that is still currently, like, their action and everything is still pattern according to this family dysfunction.
Yeah.
And they don't even know that they are dysfunction. But you have seen the pattern in your family. So how do we have honest conversation with a family member, most especially when these people are elderly?
That's a bit tricky. You know why? Most people will tell you that, me, I will just tell you the truth because it's nothing but the truth. You see, truth that is served, it's not served right, might not accomplish the intended purpose. You understand? Now, if you're in a scenario like this, what I would advise is look for who they listen to. Do you understand? It's simple. These family members, this person that you by your observation, you've noticed that this thing, that this trait and this life that you see in this person ought not to be. He or she can be better. You know they don't listen to you. You know there's nothing you will say to this person that would amount to anything. And you really want to help them. Look for who they listen to. Who they listen to makes a whole lot of difference. Why? Because Mr. A and Mr. B might be saying the same thing to Mr. C. The same thing. Mr. C might find problem or an issue with what Mr. A is saying, but accept what Mr. B is saying. But it's the same thing. It's a matter of who we have channeled ourselves. We've accepted that we want to listen to this person. I don't know if you understand. So you cannot even give help to a person that will do them of any good to them if first they don't listen to you.
True.
I don't know if you understand.
Yes,
it's not possible. You can't do nothing. What you end up doing is actually just creating an enmity between the both of you. So are you saying you're better than me? Do you understand me? So if 1, 2, 3% that they don't feel they ought to listen to, they'll find problems with the people and not the thing. Because the day the person actually find out that, oh, maybe this thing they're talking about, there's an iota of truth here. It gives them an awakening to do something about it.
Very true, very true.
So my candid advice on matters like this is look for who they listen to, because any human being on earth ought to have someone they listen to. If you know that person that this person listens to, take this sincere, candid observation of yours to that person and let them actually do that work. That's my own take on that.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome,
I really appreciate you for that particular thing. Now, there are a lot of people watching us right now, and to that very person who is looking for healing, what are the steps you think they should put in place before we embrace healing?
I was having a conversation with somebody I was counseling, and I told them, this is one thing I've actually noticed with you. And I have a feeling that if so and so and so is not actually dealt with right now, 5 years from now, you and I will be having the same conversation. You only find your life that you're living in a bubble. Bubble in the sense that you find things to make that situation seem soothing. You only design the trauma to feel nice. But if not dealt with, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we'll still be dealing with the same thing. Because statistically, if you look in Africa, I hope I don't get this wrong, 70 to 80% there is a chance that 8 out of 10 house, there's a story of a family dysfunctionality there.
Yeah, true.
8 out of 10 house. So imagine this man springs out of one dysfunctionality, she springs out of another dysfunctionality. What example or path do you think they both have to give to that child? The chain continues. If you don't end it with you, you will pass it down. It continues with your child. And your child if the child doesn't get help or doesn't know any better, they will also pass it down. So it's more like a road, an unending road. So first, the only thing I would advise, the moment a person notices that, don't even start with you. Don't examine yourself first. Examine the tree where you're coming from. What is common among us? What do I see play out in my people? How was the home like? Was the home a place where when there are conflicts in the home, the father actually call for a dialogue? Do they have, healthy conversation? When this person is venting, do they actually pour more reason for them to vent, or do they attack them? Do they feel heard? The environment that the child grows up in shaping their life, even whether they choose to acknowledge it or not. Yeah. So my point still remains that the moment you see it, the moment you have an iota of a clue that there is a chance that this thing can be there, seek help. See, when you know you are healed is when that situation presents himself and involuntarily you act different. This is not me saying go and arrange a situation by yourself. Yeah. When it presents itself and involuntarily you act different from the original way, that the pattern that you've seen, that's when you know that the help actually worked. Okay. For the fact that a person went to school doesn't mean they passed.
True.
You could have said, I went to therapy. Doesn't mean you got healed. It doesn't mean you got the job done. So until you see results, because how deep this is if it's not dealt with, see, there are gray areas in our lives that we will never get to see it for ourselves.
Very true.
It's not possible. Because the only way to get better is to get feedback.
True.
So there are gray areas in our lives that it's more like blind spots. One of the things that actually unveils or shine lights on blind spots, the best that I know, are relationships. Relationship actually shines light on blind spots, like in ways that you don't understand, you don't even imagine. So for example, I'll take a sister for example. You date Mr. A, and Mr. A complained about this thing about your life. Say he just doesn't understand me. He just doesn't get me. I don't know why he is seeing me this way. You understand? You say, in fact, I think I can get someone better.
Yeah.
You ended the relationship with Mr. A. You get Mr. B. It started all beautiful and all rosy and all of that. After a while, Mr. B actually complained about similar thing. You got angry with it. You met Mr. C, and you see that the pattern continue. If you don't know how to take feedback, you would have problem with the people, not the problem.
Yeah, very true.
The people, not the problem.
True.
Do you understand? So if you actually, the moment you get to a point that there are feedbacks coming, that there's something that I need to actually bring to the table and deal with in my own life to get me better. When I get into an issue or an argument with a person, I listen to what the person is saying about me. Something I can take to the drawing table and see, okay, is this true? This person I'm talking to, I was having this debate or argument with, is it that they can say anything just to win the argument, or they're actually being honest and I'm not getting it? I take that's me accepting feedback. When I say that, okay, there's some iota of truth in this, if I'm sincere with myself that I need to grow past that, is to get help on how to be better on that. So relationship actually shines light on our blind spots. Like one of the most easiest tools to actually, if you want to get better, use relationships. Instead of jumping from the first girl to the next girl to the next girl, or from the first man to the next man, sometimes come down to a point where you actually examine it, because it's your life we're talking about. So being able to take honest feedback is a very fine tool for character improvement.
True.
Do you understand me now? So all of the deformity, all of the dysfunctionality we see in our lives, things that ought not to be, we picked it up some way, somehow. Maybe from parents, maybe from relative, maybe from our environment, maybe from our circle of friends, the way we think, our line of thought. It's influenced whether we choose to acknowledge it or not. And how influence works, it either works against you or for you. Influence either works against or for. So it either influence you negatively or positively. Yeah. So there are influences around us on a daily basis. Social media influences your mind. What you watch influences your mind.
Very true.
If what you feel at home watching are movies or stories that promotes things that actually damages your mind, definitely when the results start coming out, you should know that it's something that is influencing it.
Yeah.
You're somebody that you're not easily influenced by how another man's life goes, or you're not easily pressured. Let me use the term peer pressure for an example. If you're that person that you have contentment to a certain point, that another person's life doesn't influence you, watch all of a sudden, you start looking like, why is this person? Why is this person? Something changed. Something influenced you. Am I saying don't get motivated by another person's life, you can't get motivated. But if the reason, the motive and objective is wrong, something is wrong. I don't know if you understand me.
Yes, sir.
So narrowing down dysfunctionality is in our everyday life. We interact daily with people that come from dysfunctional and broken home, people that have broken personality. We are in relationship with them. We are at our work with them. They are work colleagues. We have people all around us. So check the influence you have in your space. And personal advice to somebody that has acknowledged and have seen that from the way I grew up, this is a trait that I've seen from my environment, my background, that is not helpful to my life. First thing I advise them, before even seeking help, change environment.
Very important.
Change environment.
Very, very important.
It's important. Change your environment, because dysfunctionality is not just you saying you want to save you. You're trying to actually save the offspring, the generation that are going to come from you.
Yeah.
Because if you produce a peaceful home, you produce a home where the children feel safe, you produce a child that is loved at home. If you produce a child that actually is not going out looking for solace in friendship, solace in one thing or the other, not friends that they are going to go clubbing, they are going to drag them into one way or the other. Sincerely, I have stories of families that the moment their daughter comes of age and they meet a new boy, the girl will be able to comfortably come and meet their father. Daddy, this is what happened. Imagine a home like that. Where you can be honest with your parents. True. How many of us had that growing up?
Very few.
Do you understand me? How many of us can actually be like, Mom, man, I know I screwed up, but this is what I did. This is what I did. You will take it to your grave. Because the day it comes out, if they don't kill you, if that thing don't kill you, your parents will kill you.
Yeah.
One way or the other, you must die.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah,
so
true. It's
about creating an environment that the child can grow healthy. A healthy environment. When a child's pain can be heard, their emotions can be nurtured. Do you understand? Let the child see you, the parents, handle conflict the way it ought to be handled. Show them how it's done. When they have environment like this, the society will have very little to do on their personality.
Yeah.
Because first, they had proper home training. So family dysfunctionality goes beyond you. It's a chain that if sincerely you have any iota of love, not just for yourself, but the offspring you're going to actually bring forth, deal with it while you can. Deal with it. For real. Because imagine the story of, you've heard the story of a girl with daddy issues.
Yeah.
Nobody actually talks about the boy whose father was not around. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Always we talk about the girl with daddy issues. Because there was no father figure in her life for her to actually feel love and discipline, to set a tone in her life. So if you meet a person like that, it's hard for them to even believe in the fact that there's unconditional love. How can you do it when how can you believe in it when you've never experienced it? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So the story of the girl with daddy issues, we know its effect. The boy whose father wasn't in the picture. Nobody talks about him. But that man is going to actually be the core, be somebody that is going to nurture a home.
Yeah.
And I've heard before when they say the first place, the number one place for a son or a man to actually learn how to be a great father is if he has an example of one to show him. What if he grew up without one to show him?
Yeah.
What if the one he grew up to see was a dysfunctional one? What if the only pattern he had was something that was only going to break him and set him on a path of no return? What if that was all he had? I'm telling you today that if that is your case today, even though if that is your story today, it's not the end. You are an adult now. Are you with me?
Yeah.
You are an adult now. Listening to me, perhaps you've thought for long, if only my dad was around. If only mommy was in the picture. If only I had this amount of love. If only I had an example of a home like this. I wish my life was like the life of my friend so and so. My friend so and so. Yes, perhaps. Perhaps not. It's not the end of the road. You can actually learn to be better. You can heal from those pain. Because what is going to actually come from you next is your choice. Whether you want to continue the legacy that your father left or you want to cut your own path. That is it on family dysfunction. You either decide to cut your own path by dealing with those things and healing from them, or you just allow it to continue. And most times, people actually go in the way of least resistance. The way that doesn't seem like work. The way that doesn't seem hard. And yes, I understand. But you have to think about it that there's something bigger and greater than you. Something bigger and greater than you is the generation that comes after you. Sure. Is the child that comes after you. Would you rather they grow properly or grow crooked? So that's my take on that. So deal with your issues, find help, then watch out what you also produce. It's not enough to actually bring a child to the world. It's not enough.
Sure.
It's not enough. When you bring a child to the world, do you have what it takes to actually give that child all that child needs to grow properly? So if you ask yourself this question today and the answer is no, get to work. I've had conversations with my friends, male friends, had conversations with female friends. I've had conversations with people. And I hear people tell me, I'm not even sure I'm ready for this marriage, and even a bit talk more of bringing a child to the world. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Yes, they are sincere with themselves, but yet for how long? Small time you get to a point where it seems like you're getting to the end of the road. As a man, society will start asking you, when are you going to get married? Because you are getting old. We need you to actually give birth to kids. If you're a lady, society don't even smile on you. Are you with me now? So when you get to that point, the longer you wait, you're not solving any problem. That thing that is making you questioning yourself, like, do I have what it takes that when a child comes to the picture now, I have what it takes to actually nurture that child rightly without passing down any of my trauma, any of my pain, those things that keeps you awake at night. Do I think I have what it takes to actually deal with all of that? If the answer is no, deal with it right now. Find solution. Get help. Be ready. That's just my take on it.